From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And, man, we got trades coming up left and right. There's so many coming up right now that I couldn't even mention it. I couldn't even throw it in there. But we do have breaking news right now. Chris Paul has just been traded to the Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole. So now pretty much that whole situation has been dealt with now. Chris Paul is back on the West Coast, and he's with the Warriors in the Bay. He gets to play with his good buddy Steph Curry. Both guys are from North Carolina as well, too. So that should be a lot of fun to have those two there because, you know, they have a little bit of a rivalry and everything like that when Chris did play for the Clippers and the Rockets as well, too. So it's funny that he finally gets to play for the team that's pretty much been his thorn in the side of, you know, his NBA career over the last decade or so. So now he gets to go ahead and he gets to actually play with a potential champion. But I think that the writing's on the wall pretty much with the Warriors that this thing is about over when it comes to these guys. So pretty much they're just bringing in the last piece that should be able to end their dynasty, in my opinion. I think I know it sounds really bad how I'm saying it, but come on, let's keep it real. Chris Paul, best days are well beneath him. And if you think that Chris Paul still has something left, well, you know, I hate to break it to you, but he has absolutely nothing left. So pretty much, hopefully he can be a good veteran for the young players that are there, and they can try to get themselves in a position to actually still be very relevant in the NBA, because we all know once the Warriors are not winning basketball games on a consistent basis, nobody's going to care. So pretty much with that, let's go ahead and jump into which really was the opening topic for the show, and that's Prozingis is traded to the Celtics. Means Boston is all in on a title next season, and that's definitely the right thing for the Boston Celtics to do. I was on Jeff's show earlier. You know, Jeff is a local from Boston, so pretty much, you know, he has his he was very. He was for it, but you know he's going to miss Marcus Smart as well too. But that was the only way that they were going to be able to make this deal. Marcus Smart, I know that he's a vital piece to the Celtic brand, Celtic pride, all that stuff. He exudes what Celtic pride is. But at the end of the day, you're not winning championships with Marcus Smart. You're going to win a championship with Kristaps Porzingis. I guarantee that if he can be healthy, because this guy is the type of guy that can be the X factor that pushes you over the top. They needed a guy like this a few years ago. They tried to actually bring in a guy like this in Gordon Hayward. But now they bring in Prozingis, a guy who has a lot of ability and a guy that came in with the idea that he was going to be one of the better players in the NBA by the time it was all said and done. They were treating him like how they treat Luka now. They thought that it was going to be this big deal. Kristaps Porzingis, at first, he got booed in New York. A lot of people did not know who he was. You know, they paired him with Carmelo. Carmelo was kind of like, I don't know. But then, you know, you started seeing it. He started seeing a more athletic version of Dirk Nowitzki out there, and people got excited. And he was able to have the big moments in New York City. He scored 40 points all that good stuff, had monster games in the Garden. Then he moves on to Dallas, and they tried to put together this dynamic duo with him and Luka, the international too, all that good stuff. That never worked out because Dallas never really built a team around them that was going to be conducive to consistent winning. It was always about Luka carrying the squad and hoping Prozingis stayed healthy. Now he goes to Washington. It kind of becomes Mr. Irrelevant a little bit. Nobody is talking about Washington that much. Nobody's talking about the progress of the Wizards because they really had no vision of doing more than just being in the NBA and getting at least 35 wins. You know what I mean? So pretty much that didn't happen either. But he wound up having his best season in the NBA ever in Washington. So this is really an upgraded situation for them because he was already an excellent player as is. But now you catch him on the whim of him actually seeking his potential and actually being able to play on a nightly basis as well, too. This was the most games he played in a season as well, too. So it all works out for Boston moving forward. They add a guy who can get them at least a minimum 22, 23 points a night, and that's going to be very helpful to two guys who are getting you 25 points or better. So now you have a legit big three there, and Boston puts themselves in place not just as the best team in the Eastern Conference moving forward, but pretty much they are the best team in the NBA. Only thing that you question with Boston is the head coach. And hopefully this won't be too much for him. And this will be something that he can go ahead and actually improve upon as well, too. So with that, we'll have more to talk about as we get to that point of the season. But the Celtics are putting themselves in the proper position. Now let's move on and talk about the Thompson twins. The Thompson twins can make history with both possibly being drafted in the top 10. Now, Amen and Asir Thompson, these guys are very, very, very fun players in a sense. You know what I mean? And they are guys that are very keen to what it already takes to be a great NBA player as is because they played in the G League for the last few years, or actually in the overtime elite league, whatever it is. But it's a league that they're playing with other guys that are potentially NBA NBA players and guys that, you know, their mindset is basketball only. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to deal with the politics of, you know, actually going to college and actually really earning something. You know, this new way of just skipping the steps. That's exactly what the future is kind of about, where you have people that are teaching you kind of bad habits. So these guys are another pair of guys that have the potential to be really great NBA players in the long term. Right now, though, they're still young and figuring it out, but they know exactly what they're doing. Both are very natural basketball players as well, too. So it's not going to take a lot for these guys to really be able to make the transition on being successful in the NBA because they're twin brothers, and twin brothers usually hold each other accountable. And you know that you got somebody that has your back. You know what I mean? And you truly have somebody that has your back. But they're not going to be fortunate enough to play on the same team, in my opinion. They're going to make sure that these guys, you know, these will be the first twins that they really do truly separate. The Martin twins were the last pair of twins that came into the NBA. They both got to play for Charlotte. One got drafted. The other one they picked up on the side. Now, you know, when it comes down to, you know, the Collins twins, those two guys were drafted a year apart from each other, from what I remember, Jason and Jerron. And, you know, when it comes to Harvey and Horace, those guys were pretty good, solid role players that were able to exceed in their roles as well, too. You know, Harvey playing for the Atlanta Hawks, playing for the Detroit Pistons, all that good stuff, while brother Horace won titles with the Bulls and won titles with the Lakers, was also a part of that Orlando team that went to the finals and lost to the Rockets. So, you know, you have these things, and then you have the Morris twins, probably one of the more popular set of twins to ever play in the NBA, and Markieff and Marcus. So now you have Asur and Amen. So this is going to be a lot of fun with these guys tonight. They're saying that Amen will probably be the first one off the board, and they're looking at Amen to go from 4 through 6. I think that the kid winds up I don't know if he winds up in Houston, but I think that it's a good possibility that he does wind up in Detroit. I think Detroit is a good market for him, and it's a good little story that they can sell as well too. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But the NBA draft is going to be very intriguing tonight once we get past the third pick. And I'm going to stay to my first three in order. Wemby is already a slam dunk to go to San Antonio. And then you get a little tricky here on who Charlotte's going to take. And then Portland will take who's left out, the two that are on the board, correct? So pretty much Brandon Miller is my selection for the Hornets because he's the right fit for the team. And I think that Scoot Henderson gives them the guard that they need to start working on pushing out Damian Lillard. So I think that still winds up happening unless the Blazers do a 25th hour deal right before the draft, because they still do have that third pick available. I know that they're telling the media and Twitter that they don't have that pick available right now, but they do. They're still trying to offer to the highest bidder. They're in the they're looking for an all-star type player to put with Damian Lillard. So we'll see how it shapes up. We'll see how it shakes out, but that's where we're at right now with the NBA draft. Now, let's go ahead and jump into some you already know what time it is. Let's go ahead and talk about the state of the Lakers. It's draft day, so that means that there's a lot of rumors going around. The Lakers got the 17th pick right now, okay? And I truly do want to see the Lakers go ahead and do the right thing here. I do not want to see the Lakers trade this pick out unless they're going to get an all-star caliber player in return with, another player that can actually contribute to the Lakers. The Lakers need 2 or 3 players if they were going to make a trade or something of that nature. But I think that staying at the 17th pick will be the right thing to do because there's a lot of talent in this draft from what I've seen as well too. They're not guys that are going to be all-stars or anything like that, but they're guys that are going to be very good role players moving forward for the long-term future of the NBA. We have to understand, if you're a guy that came into the league 2014, 2015, you are on the twilight of your career right now, pretty much. You're pretty much peaking at this point in time. Guys like LeBron James, they're dinosaurs. You don't have them around anymore. Chris Paul and him are the only ones left in regard to class of 2005 and the class of 2003. So those guys are pretty much the last of the 2000s that are left over in the NBA. You can't name anybody else that's still in the league that was drafted in the 2000s. Seriously. If you can, send it to me on the show right now. But from what I see right now, you only got 2 significant players from that time. Well, oh yeah, let me keep it real. You still got Steph Curry playing as well too. Steph Curry was drafted in 2008, 2009. So yeah, you still have that group around. But if you are, say, anything from 2005 and below, there's only 2 guys left. And so pretty much they're in a position now to where, they don't have to worry about Chris Paul coming because Chris Paul is with the Warriors now. And they truly don't have to worry about getting Draymond Green because he's already pretty much screamed out that he wants to stay in. He's pretty much already screamed out that he wants to stay in. That he wants to stay where he's at. He wants to stay right there with the Warriors, so they can try to go ahead and get another championship. And with Chris Paul coming, he's definitely going to stick around for that situation as well too. So I don't see him running to the Lakers like everybody keeps imagining. So I don't see that happening at all either. So pretty much we have ourselves a very, very key situation in place when it comes down to what the Lakers truly can be coming into next season. And it's crazy because I like the fact that Emoni Bates is an available player right now. I think Emoni Bates, with the right tutelage, with the right team, with the right fit, with the right coaching, can be an impact player for the Lakers coming into next season. The guy was an absolute bucket when he was at Eastern Michigan. It didn't work out the way he wanted to at Memphis because Memphis was a team that was pretty much a AAU team that was moonlighting as a college basketball team. They had no chemistry, so that affected his game in the sample size that we did get of him over at Memphis. And Penny Hardaway just had too many horses. That's all it was. He had too many guys that he had to keep happy. And you know what? He couldn't keep Imani happy. So now Imani Bates is headed to the NBA. And I would say he can be a guy that really can be an impact player for them in the future. And he would be great for AD, because you have to think about AD in the long term, not LeBron. LeBron is about a year or two left with the Lakers. I would say a year. You know what I mean? So pretty much, you know, you bring in a guy like Imani Bates. So when you have these LeBron James sit outs and, you know, sitting out back to backs and things of that nature, you have a guy like Imani Bates in place that can score buckets. But the Lakers have a good overall team as is. So he will probably spend some time down in the G League as well. So I truly feel, though, if you're going to draft at 17 tonight, you're not going to get a guy that's going to be, you know, a right now guy. Then you need to get a player that's going to be able to play on your regular roster and not have to go down to the G League. You know what I mean? So, you know, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of choices, but we will see. There's still a lot of time between now and when the draft starts. So we'll see how it goes when we get to number 17 tonight. Will the Lakers make the right choice and bring in a guy that's going to be an impact player for the long term? Or are they going to bring in another guy that's going to be a part of a trade down the road sometime so they can appease LeBron James and try to chase a championship with his vision? We'll see. All right, so pretty much let's go ahead and move on to the next topic in hand, and it's going to be this one right here. It's going to be the Steelers feel they have their quarterback of the future in Kenny Pickett. How much pressure is it to be the signal caller in the Steel City? Well, to be the signal caller in the Steel City since about Terry Bradshaw, it's been the equivalent of being the center fielder for the New York Yankees, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Or the point guard for the Boston Celtics. It's just something that's very rare. It's a very good title to have. You know what I mean? When you truly look at it, the Steelers have had less than 10 quarterbacks since Terry Bradshaw as well, too. Pretty much in the starting form. When you look at that 50-year range, you know, you had him for a good decade. Then you had Bubby Brister. Then you had my man who wound up playing for the Jets as well, too, later on down the road. And then you had Cordell Stewart, and then you got Tommy Maddox, you know, the touchdown Tommy, who got himself back into the NFL after selling insurance. And, you know, his failed first round. Well, it wasn't really a failed first round. He just had the unfortunate act of being John Elway's backup quarterback in his absolute prime. They actually brought Tommy Maddox in to be his replacement, but what happened is that Elway worked it out with the franchise to where he was able to sign on with the contract that was the contract that he had until the end of his career. So what happens is Tommy Maddox kind of gets shafted out the situation, and he goes off and quits football and gets a very lucrative job selling insurance. He comes back around a few years later, plays for the LA Extreme in the XFL. They win the championship. The Steelers pick him up in need of a quarterback, and he pretty much went ahead and had a great season with the Steelers, led them to the playoffs as well too. And then guess what? Comes back the next season, gets hurt in like maybe the first game or something of that nature. And guess who takes over? Ben Roethlisberger for the next 20 years almost. So that's been the Steelers. That's what I've known with the Steelers when it comes to the quarterback position. Now, when Roethlisberger had his injuries and things like that, they had a great backup in Charlie Batch. So, you know, there's just a lot of things that you say to yourself when it comes to the Steelers that they know how to pick them. You know what I mean? And they know how to stick with guys. And as long as they're getting the results that they need, and that's winning, they don't need to switch off the quarterback. Kenny Pickett last season had a great year. Kenny Pickett was close to getting the Pittsburgh Steelers to the playoffs as well, too. But we all know that he is playing probably in the toughest division in the AFC right now, if not the toughest division in football when it comes down to the North, because you might not be getting teams getting, where they're splitting up wins and things like that, but you do have teams that are very physical and very, very, very very physical, nasty, mean, and everybody knows each other very well in these divisions as well too. Like literally, you barely see blowouts when it comes to the AFC North over the last few years. Every one of their games comes down to the last few minutes of that game. So, Kenny Pickett has a lot of really good attributes to him, and he has a good mentality. But does he have the Pittsburgh tough that you need to get through those certain matchups that aren't favoring the Steelers? Do you have the grit and the grind to really become that dude? Now, he has a lot of things working in his favor. He played for the Pittsburgh University, where he was an absolute superstar for that team, led them to an ACC title, and he led them to an New Year's Six Bowl as well too. And he looked absolutely incredible in that game, because what he did was he played in that game when he didn't have to. He played that game and was already a surefire first round pick, but said, you know what, I want to go ahead and win for my teammates. I think that right there literally got him drafted by the Steelers with that. So you have a guy who's willing to be who's willing to sacrifice himself for the betterment of the team. And that's something that's very special. Then he has a great receiver in Pickens, and Pickens has all the makings of the next great Pittsburgh wide receiver, because there's a great group of Pittsburgh wide receivers. And you know what? Pickens seems like he's going to be a part of that group. But we always have to remember, the Steelers really do tell us how good these guys are. If the Steelers pay you, you're a dynamic player. If the Steelers have issues paying you, they don't see it the way that your agent might see it. So, this is really, to me, for real, this is a make or break season for Kenny Pickett. His rookie year, you excused it because he was a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. He got better as the season went along. Last year, they didn't start off that well. People were not very sold on Kenny Pickett. Then they picked it up. They started getting really good wins. They started playing really good football. And pretty much Kenny Pickett became a guy that a lot of people said, you got to watch out for this guy. So we'll see exactly what he's made of this season in season 3, because that's usually when everybody starts really gauging how they feel about a quarterback. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But the Steelers look like a sneaky, good, profitable play when it comes to the over win total, and possibly winning their division as well too. Because why? They have Mike Tomlin as the head coach. And when we really rate who the best head coach in that division is, it's him by a country mile. Why? Because he does have some Super Bowl rings. And also, he does have pretty much the longest tenure in the division as well, too. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I do come back, we're going to go ahead and jump into the Dodgers sweeping the Angels last night and what they need to do moving forward into the Astros series. And then we got the MLB Thursday night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper. Let's go ahead and jump into the Blue Crew Daily. The Dodgers sweep Angels. The pitching staff allows 0 runs in both games. What to expect in the next series? Well, what to expect in the next series, the Dodgers have a team that's absolutely struggling as they come into this series with the Dodgers. And it's like right on time as well, too, for the Dodgers, who pretty much were struggling themselves before they were able to play, before they were able to get right in this game against the before they were able to get right against the Angels. The Angels were absolutely, out of their wits, but the Dodgers had beat them 8 times in a row as well, too. So you can count that into the equation why the Dodgers were so good last night, because they just have the Angels number at this point. And that's crazy because usually it's the other way around. It's always a tough game for the Dodgers. It's always, pretty much because the Angels are always a team that's very overlooked in Los Angeles and seems to always have a better roster as well, too. But this time around, the last few years, they haven't had anywhere near a better roster than the Dodgers. They've had the best players money can buy with Trout and Shotani, but they haven't been able to really duplicate a really dominant team. So the Dodgers took full advantage of that. The Dodgers had a great game with Kershaw in game 1. Kershaw pitched superb, pitching 8 shutout innings, was absolutely incredible, struck out a lot of guys. Then yesterday, the Dodgers bullpen had to have a revenge moment because they were the biggest culprits in that absolute assault that the Giants put on them last week. So pretty much to make up for that, they went out yesterday, threw out, I think, 7, 8 pitchers. They were able to shut out the Angels yesterday, which was beautiful to watch because they were so in sync and they were so, focused on the job in hand. Just get the guy out. Don't be too cute. Don't try to strike out everybody. Just get the guy out. That's all you need to do is get him out. And that's exactly what the Dodgers did yesterday. So that sweep was right on time. The Dodgers are able to get themselves another day off this week as well, too, because people have to understand the Dodgers played a pretty long week last week. They wound up playing 6 games in a row. They got Monday off, and then they played another 2 games. But the Dodgers had literally played for 13 days, 13 out of the last 14 days. So this two days off during this week has been pretty much a godsend for this Dodger team moving forward, because the Dodgers seem like a team that's a little tired at this point. So I truly do think that when it comes down to it, the Dodgers will make it to where things will get a little bit easier for them down the road. Now, the Dodgers are behind by 4 games against the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are 45-30. The Dodgers are 41-33. And surprise, surprise, the San Francisco Giants are sitting a game ahead of them as well, too. So the Dodgers are in a position right now where they're chasing a team that's on a 10-game winning streak, and then they're chasing a team in the Diamondbacks who've actually went ahead and won their last 3 out of 5 games. But really, in reality, they've actually won their last 5 out of 7 after losing 3 in a row. So that was pretty good for the Diamondbacks because it shows them that they're not all the way there yet, but they're getting close. You know what I mean? So this team is 10-7 this month, and pretty much this is probably the 1 month that they've had where they've kind of struggled a little bit, but they've been good regardless though. They're having an incredible season. There's nothing you can even sugarcoat. Their season is going immensely well. And they keep piecing together good 6-game winning streaks here and there. So the Dodgers really do have to start thinking about, okay, what are we doing here? Who are we picking up? And what is our plan of action next time we play them? Meaning, how are we going to scout this next situation out with them? We've already played them 7 games this year. Actually, 8 games already this year because they had 2 4-game series with the Diamondbacks. So I think they probably have about 2 more left to go with them. And one's going to be in Arizona. One's going to be in LA. So the Dodgers really are in a win now mode, but they don't have to overdo it. The Dodgers just need to be taking 5. They need to win at least 70% of their games for the next 2 months. You know what I mean? 70% of their games during the week for the next 2 months, in my opinion. I think that the Dodgers will hit their stride come July, and that's when you really need to go ahead and start judging exactly where they're going to be at, where they're going to finish at, because the Dodgers right now still have what it takes to win a World Series, but I wouldn't put them as the World Series favorite. Right now, if you ask me today who the World Series favorite truly is, I'm going to keep it real with you. It's not the Tampa Bay Rays either. It's the Atlanta Braves. The Braves have already won a championship a few years ago, and they have about 60-70% of those guys still on that roster. So when it comes down to it, you got to have pitching and you got to have timely hitting. The Braves have all of that. So that's the team that really is the team to catch right now in the major leagues, in my honest, wholehearted opinion. All right. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next topic, and that's MLB Thursday night. We have most of these games done already as is. So pretty much right now you have the Nats. They were playing earlier today. They wind up losing their game 5-3 to the Diamondbacks. So that's what got the Diamondbacks up 4 games right now. Braves wind up beating the Phillies 5-1. The Guardians, beat the Athletics 6-1, and then the Twins beat the Red Sox 6-0. So that winds up being your games for this morning. And then we got a game going on right now in San Francisco between the Padres and the Giants. And the Giants, as I said before, winners of their last 10 in a row. So that's pretty big for them as well, too, because the Dodgers had it in their mind that they were well ahead of everybody and that everything was good, and pretty much now the Dodgers are in a position where they have to literally be looking up at 2 teams. And just a few weeks ago, they weren't looking up at 2 teams. They were on top. They were on top of the whole baseball. You know what I mean? They were on top of the whole National League. Now they have to revert back to being the 4th best team in the National League. And it's not good because they're in a wild card spot. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. But that's going to be that for today. And we have 3 games left over for today. And we're going to talk about all 3 of those games right now. So up first, let's go ahead and jump into the struggling Pirates going against the ascending Marlins. The Marlins are a team that had the idea that they were still building this thing up, and we'll get to you later. That's the whole thing. But they always had a pitching staff in place that could be a pitching staff that can get them over the top, and that's exactly what that pitching staff is doing. But in reality, though, Luis Arias is the biggest difference of it all. This guy is an absolutely natural hitter. The guy is batting .400 right now. The guy has had 31 multi-hit games as well, too. He's had 3 5-for-5 games this month. This guy is absolutely bringing hitting back in a great way. He's not looking for homers. He's just looking to get on base. And that's exactly the mentality that most players need to have. That's what's really wrong with the MLB nowadays. If you're a power hitter, you're always looking to hit home runs. If you're a contact hitter, you're always looking to try to get on base you're always trying to you're always looking to get on base, but you're overthinking as well too. Instead of going after the pitches that you know that will be guaranteed hits, you go after pitches that you're guessing on. So pretty much he has the best eye in the game right now. And he's just pretty much being very influential on exactly what it takes to be exciting in baseball. We need more 300 hitters. I looked up, we only have 15 in the MLB. There's thousands of players that play in the league. You know what I mean? And they have 15, hundreds, let's say hundreds, but 15 players here hitting at 300. There used to be like, when I was coming up, there was like 100 that hit. Every single team had a 300 hitter. Nobody had, if you didn't have a 300 hitter, you were only winning 50 some odd games a season. You know what I mean? You had to have one. Even with the 300 hitter, you could still be a bad team, right? But all in all, my point is that you used to know that, you had some guys that could get on base. And now in today's MLB, you see a lot of 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, you know what I mean? 210, 205. And these guys are all-stars. So, we'll see how it goes. But the Pirates, though, they are struggling bad right now. They've lost 9 in a row. And they've actually lost their last 10 out of 12 games. Really, their last 13 out of 15 after having a 4-game winning streak to start the month off. Okay, so pretty much since that point, this team has been is just it's just bad. They're 2-12 since that point. So they need to be better, much better than they've been. And tonight could be a good start for that. The Marlins, on the other hand, they've been absolutely tremendous. At one point, they had won 6 in a row. Then they come back around, they won 5 in a row. But they just lost their last 2 in a row as well, too. But when you look at the type of month that they're having, they're 13-6 right now. And it's because they've been streaking on most of these games as well, too. Because at one point, they really were, before they lost these 2 games in a row, they really were playing some pretty damn good baseball. They had wound up winning 11 out of they've wound up winning 11 out of 14 game 11 out of 13 games from what I'm seeing here, or actually 11 out of 14 games from what I saw here. So that was pretty damn good because they started off with the 6-0 streak, then they lost, they won 2 again, then they lost 2, then they won 5. So they are absolutely cooking right now. So pretty much they won their 12 out of 14 at that point. So they're good. They've been good. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot of things that they're working on to become a more dominant team, but they find themselves in position where they can actually chase the Braves this year. They're sitting in second place, and they're the number 1 wild card team as we speak right now as well, too. So there's everything going in the positive direction for this team. I think tonight what happens here is there's going to be an over. I think that both these teams come out scoring tonight, and, especially the Pirates after the struggles that they had over the last few games with the Cubbies, because they wound up losing that series, getting swept in that series. But the cold part about that is that they only scored in 1 game, and pretty much they got outscored 20-3. So they're going to have to be much better than that, and I think they'll be able to step it up tonight because they have some motivation. All right, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so pretty much we have ourselves our next game up, and that's going to be the Rockies and the Rays. And the Rockies and the Rays, and I got the Royals here, but it's the Rockies, y'all. It's the Rockies, y'all. So pretty much we got the Rockies tonight. going against the we got the Rockies tonight going against the Rays, and let's make sure I got this all the way right. Actually, we got the Royals. I'm so sorry. We got the Royals going against the Rays. So I got that totally off tonight. So pretty much I'm gonna fix this real quick because I'm just keep saying to myself, we got the Rockies tonight. It's the Royals. So, we got the Royals and the Rays tonight. And man, I'm telling you right now, I'm so pissed off at myself. I put it on lists, everything, all these damn R's, and I just did it. I kept telling myself I don't want to keep putting the Royals here as the team, but I just can't resist because they're too big of a dog tonight for me not to do it. You know what I mean? Like seriously, they're way too big of a dog for me not to do it. They're plus 265 tonight. You got a minus 350 on the Rays tonight. This is going to be a very big over bet, in my opinion. I think that, as long as we've been playing this game, you know how it goes. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all know how it goes down. Y'all know how it goes down. So pretty much I'm going to go ahead and play this thing smart and have the Rays tonight because the Royals tonight because the Royals are a team that really is, they're bad, but at the same time too, this is still a Major League Baseball game. They're 20-54 coming into the game tonight, but they already played the Rays this year, and they were keeping up with them a little bit, but you just don't pass up a plus 265 when the team's a minus 350. I know they're the best team in baseball, all that good stuff, but this is usually the nights when the best teams in baseball lose. So I'm going to go ahead and take the biggest dog bet of the week, most likely, and I'm going to take the Royals with the plus 265 today. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we move forward to our next game, which is going to be the Mariners and the Yankees. The Mariners and the Yankees coming both looking to get back into the Yankees are looking to stay in the mix and all that good stuff while you have a Mariners team that's trying to figure some things out. Mariners know that they're going to need some pitching. Mariners are an absolute flop compared to what we thought they were going to be. A lot of us thought that they were going to be the team that absolutely took over this division this year and won the division this year, but they just have not been able to do that. That's the whole thing. They just kind of just been going through the motions a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's not good. They're not playing to the potential that you thought they could be. They have a possible MVP candidate in Rodriguez, and he's not doing much. Then you have some good pitching with Castillo. He's not doing much either. It's really like, damn, you wanted so much better from the Mariners this year, and you're just not getting it. Now, the Yankees, on the other hand, the Yankees are still playing good baseball, and they've had to deal with some of their best players not even being around. You got Stanton, who's out right now, I think, and then you have Judge, who's been out on the IR twice already. So, you're trying to keep things in motion. You're trying to keep things really good and everything like that. But, pretty much, at the end of the day, you have yourself some really good moments here for the Yankees. And I think that when the Yankees really look into it, that they have a team that's still a World Series team. Their pitching is not, stellar in the sense to where everybody's getting paid a high dollar amount. They only got really one expensive starting pitcher, and that's Garrett Cole. I think that the Yankees got enough assets in place to where they can go ahead and add starters as well too. So a lot of these starters that are playing on bad teams right now that have good outings, but they never get runs, those guys are going to be high commodities, and they're going to command a lot of really good assets as well too. So we'll see how it goes, but the trade deadline is going to be a lot of fun. But tonight, I got the Yankees playing absolutely out of their minds instead of just taking them on the money line and taking a careful bet. I'm going to actually take the Yankees to win this game by 2 or more runs. We ran this bet the other night. We cashed that bad boy out at plus 175. Tonight, we get it at plus 185. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I'm feeling pretty good about this one. So there it is. There it is. So pretty much with that, we have ourselves our MLB Thursday night. And we want to, let's go ahead and try to get this bad boy home. Let's try to win this baby. So there it is, man. That's gonna be our actual group for tonight. We only got 3 games. And what's going on, nephew? How's everything going, loved one? I hope everything is good with you today, man. Glad that you've joined us for the show today, man. Hopefully everything works out for you tonight with your prize picks and all that good stuff. Who do you have going fourth in the draft? I know you know who the first 3 are, but also, is it going to be, should Charlotte take Scoot or should they take Brandon Miller? And give me your answer so I can go ahead and put it on the screen for everybody. But we'll wait on that. Right now, we got to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the talking tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Captain.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so Brandon Miller. See, and then it was funny. Shams wants to make sure that he beats Woj, so he has to say, "Oh, they're gaining a lot of momentum." All right, no worries. But I got a more reliable source that told me 2 weeks ago that they've been on the Brandon Miller train, and Brandon Miller is their guy. You know what I mean? So pretty much they got to throw in diversion so people can feel like they got a chance. But it's going to be Brandon Miller at number 2. All right, so let's go ahead, jump into talking tickets. Let's talk about it. And up first, let's go ahead and jump into the WNBA. The WNBA, we got a 6-1 ticket. I didn't even get to brag on y'all the other night, but we did hit the 10-1 on Tuesday. So don't look at these tickets lightly. These tickets can hit. They pretty much do hit. And a lot of people know I'm the hoops guru. So that means it can be in the men's game or it can be in the women's game. I just didn't go too crazy with the WNBA last year because they had a very, very funny season. It was real political, and I didn't feel like the women were that into playing basketball. They were more into trying to have like equality on TV and stuff like that. So pretty much tonight we have the over 157 with the Sun and the Lynx in Minnesota. Then I like the Mystics tonight with the -3. They're on the road. Hopefully they can go ahead and get themselves a 4-point win. And then in a toss-em-up matchup with the Storm and the Fever, I'm going to go ahead and take the even money on the home team Storm tonight. And I'm going to take this 6-1. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Hopefully we get ourselves another sweep this week as well too. And then we have ourselves MLB, and there it goes, over 7 with the Pirates and the Marlins tonight. I think that we're going to get ourselves some runs here. So that's pretty much the bet right there. And then we have the Royals plus 265. Glad that I put the right team there so I don't have to worry about fixing it later, but it's going to be the Royals at plus 265. And then we wrap it up with the Yankees at minus 1.5, plus 185, like I previously just said. So there it is. We got an 18-1 ticket on a 3-teamer. That's pretty good on a 3-teamer, where you can get a 3-teamer at 18-1. That's damn good right there. So with that, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in today. Tomorrow, we have Friday afternoon show, and we will have the man, the Don of Cape Cod, in the building. Hopefully, I'll confirm on Twitter, but he's going to let me know in the morning if he's good to go or not, because you know how life is. Sometimes Fridays turn into the craziest day of the week. So I'm not all the way 100% yet, but he should. But most likely he will be a part of the show tomorrow. And we'll be talking some AFC North for sure tomorrow. And we'll be talking a lot of about the aftermath of the NBA draft and everything as well too. And of course, baseball. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. Now we come to the end of the show. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.